Okay, sour beer. What is sour beer?
Sour beer has Belgian and other European traditions, and basically what that means is we're probably using a wild strain of yeast, and then we're also using bacteria to make that beer sour. So like lactobacillus you find in your Greek yogurt, and then a couple other strains, some good, some bad.
So each of these beers started out as a normal beer and has been soured. Is that the, is that the story?
We have a spread here. Some of these are not sour, but the ones that are sour, they start out as just normal wort, like normal brewing process in the brew house. Then when we move them over to fermentation, we're going to add yeast, and also we'll pitch that bacteria at that time to give it the pH levels necessary to make it the desired end product. Yeah.
I'm looking at the board here, and the flavors I'm seeing, the things you add, it's just crazy. We see a goza brewed with ramen noodles, lime zest, ginger, lemongrass, and seaweed cured sea salt. I see a matcha. Where do you get your inspiration, and do you ever make beers that sound like they'll be good on a piece of paper, and then you try it and it's like, no, that doesn't work?
Yeah, we've had a few, that don't always make it to the tap room, but our head brewer, Ryan Deo, he's got a good head on his shoulders for this kind of beer, and so he comes up with some of these ideas. Like, for instance, the ramen noodle goza you mentioned was after a drunken trip to San Diego. Ate a lot of ramen, drank a lot of beer, and something clicked in his head, and he came back and he made it. We just like to make things that are flavorful, will pair well with food, sometimes emulate food, and really just have fun. I mean, beer doesn't have to be serious. It can be a lot of fun.
Okay, let me try this ramen noodle ware. Oh, which one's this?
Yeah.
A trick for you at home: smell the beer before you taste it. Get your nose in there, swish it around a little bit. When you swish it around, the smells come out a bit more. I'm definitely getting like a soy sauce.
A little funk and a little salt.
Yeah, the salt.
Yeah.
Soy sauce beer?
But there's salt in it, so you get a little briny character to it.
It still tastes like a beer, but I'm getting those flavors. Yeah. I guess that's the trick as well, is you don't want something to be a gimmick. You still want it to taste like beer.
Yeah, I mean, and you could say putting ramen noodles into the mash as part of the grain bill is kind of gimmicky, but we feel it pulls out some different proteins and sugars and starches that we want that actually change the body from a traditional goes to a little bit fuller mouthfeel. But ultimately, yeah, if the beer isn't good at the end, then what's the point, right?
It's delicious. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along here. Red. This is cloudy. It looks like a fruit juice. Explain what's going on there.
This is also a goza. No ramen noodles. But it's a blueberry lime goza, so we added a significant amount of blueberries puree to this, and got this really awesome color out of it. Great head retention. It's one of the prettiest beers I think we've made in a while.
And explain goza.
Goza is a traditional German wild ale. Generally what that means is that they used to be spontaneously fermented, but they will have salt character to them and be tart. Yeah.
Let's try it. It's a hard job. Tart, a little bit of sweetness, very berry, but again, tastes like a beer. And to me, that's what a sour should be, that you get the beer character, that it doesn't taste like a cooler.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. Yeah, that one just came out literally last week, so brand new one for us. We've been doing a lot of turnover of different fruits, and you might be able to see there's a couple other colors in here, same kind of idea. We try to, especially when it starts to get hot down here. I know you guys probably don't get a lot of 100-degree temperature days.
Come end of July.
Yeah. Well, we go like 40 days in a row sometimes down here. So
we got a couple months of it. I wish we had this weather all the time. Okay, we've moved into the beer factory here at the brew house. One question I was going to ask you about Texas beer. What's going on with the beer industry in Texas, the craft brew industry?
I'd say it's still a large growth market. So most of our largest market for beer is going to be Austin. They have the most breweries per capita. They have a couple legacy breweries that have been around for over 20 years. And then one similar to us that's Jester King, that's a farmhouse brewery that's well known around the world. But in DFW, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we're still a very young market. So a lot of room for growth, a lot of work to be done, a lot of education to be done. But really, I think sky's the limit at this point. Yeah.
And sorry, the reception, what has it been like deciding to go with just sour beers?
It's been, it takes time. So we're still converting, macro drinkers or non-beer drinkers to us, which if you think about, we're maybe several degrees of separation away from the Budweiser drinker that goes to a pale ale, right? If they're going straight from that kind of beer to our beers, it can take some work finding what works well with their palates. And also on the market, just finding what works well, what relates to people well. We do our best to, even though we have a high-end product, make it as accessible as possible. We want to teach people about what we do. We want them to come into our place here and feel at home and just make it easy for them to understand, because as we all kind of grow together, I think education is going to be the key for this market, and that's something we pride ourselves on.